This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(1:15 p.m.) This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The committee stage debate relevant to the appropriation bill is being held in Parliament. The voting on the third reading of the budget proposals will take at 6 p.m. today. It has been stated in Parliament that the government is entering into the correct economic path. The opposition leader has requested the government to suspend the proposal that has been taken in 2 instances to increase the electricity bill. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara stated that the hydro and wind power plants will not be privatized. Foreign news, Arkansas elects youngest black mayor in the U.S. News in detail. The committee stage debate relevant to the appropriation bill is being held in Parliament. The voting on the third reading of the budget proposal will take place at 6 p.m. this evening. The vote on accounts, the Ministries of Finance, Economic Stability, National Policies and the Investment Promotion will take place for debate. Joining the debate, State Minister Ranjit Siamalapitia said that the government is entering into the correct economic path and currently the shortage of fuel and gas have minimized. Opposition MP Iran Wickramaratne stated that an agreement should be reached on the facts that can be fulfilled through the IMF proposals. The tobacco tax should be increased by implementing a price formula. The economic development cannot take place by increasing the number of ministers. He also stated that an unsuccessful budget has been presented to the Parliament. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa has requested the government to suspend the proposal that has been taken in 2 instances to increase the electricity bill. The economy should be revitalized. The people are suffering from taxes. The opposition leader also pointed out that the government should pay additional attention on the economic difficulties faced by the people. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara stated that the hydro and wind power plants will not be privatized. The plans made by the government to maintain the CEB and the continuous electricity supply will be implemented as it is. Joining the debate, parliamentarian Partli Champika Ranawaka said that the CEB has been separated to 18 institutions. Therefore, many problems have risen and there is some issues on producing hydropower electricity. The U.S. Institute for International Development says that new agricultural technology should be utilized to upgrade the Sri Lanka's agricultural sector instead of using traditional methods. The institute also pointed out that a special program should be implemented on agricultural products that can be exported. The relations between the farmer community, the Agriculture Department and the Agrarian Development Department are not sufficient. However, the Institute also stated that they will provide their utmost support to develop the agricultural sector in Sri Lanka. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Discounts of up to 60% for People's Bank credit cards this festive season.
Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa has presented a draft bill on regulating the election expenditure to the Parliament today. This is a draft bill relevant to the expenditure on local government polls, provincial council polls, parliamentary elections and all elections conducted under the electing of a presidential voting and expenditure borne by the candidates. Minister Mahinda Amravira says that import of rice is not necessary as the farmers have sufficient paddy stocks. Distribution of fertilizer needed for the Maha season cultivation is being carried out successfully. Farmers can utilize organic fertilizer at their will. The fuel provided by China will be given to the farmers to carry out their cultivation activities free of charge. Participating in the Das Desin Hada program of the SLBC, he praised the national radio of encouraging farmers to uplift the agriculture in the country. The sky in Colombo is covered with fog due to the increase in dust particles in the atmosphere. The National Building Research Institute stated that this situation has been aggravated due to the circulation of dust particles with wind from the Indian Ocean. The air pollution in India has affected the country. Colombo, Mannar, Vaunia, Kegol and Jaffna have been identified as the most affected areas. Meanwhile, the health sector has informed the general public to follow the health guidelines by using face masks and to avoid unnecessary exposure to the environment. And that ends local news for now.
Enjoy discounts of up to 60% at selected merchants. Only with your People's Bank credit card this festive season.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Minister of Health says that they will take every possible measure to provide medicinal drugs without any shortage to the health network by next year. Several short and long-term programs have already been commenced. Additional Secretary to the Ministry, Dr. Saman Ratnayaka, stated that the medicinal drugs needed for the country have been ordered. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
In Watchlight, the Health Ministry has warned that dengue fever is spreading rapidly. 1,602 dengue patients have been reported from many areas in the country last week. It is an increase of 14% when compared to the previous week. The Dengue Eradication Unit has pointed out that the disease is spreading in 16 health medical divisions. These divisions have been named as high-risk zones. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headline. Arkansas elects youngest black mayor in the U.S. Peru's President Pedro Castillo replaced by Dina Boluart after impeachment. And anger and fear in Australia as Bali bomber freed. An 18-year-old college student in the state of Arkansas has reportedly become the youngest black mayor to be elected in the U.S. Jalen Smith just left school in May. On Tuesday, he was voted in to lead the rural town of Earl, 30 miles west of Memphis, Tennessee. He is now the first 18-year-old mayor in the U.S. history, but that hasn't stopped his family celebrating the major win. I quote, "My mom can't stop crying," unquote, Mr. Smith told the Washington Post yesterday. A Democrat, he won in the town of 1,800 residents as most U.S. political watchers were tuned into Senate contest over in Georgia. Peru has a female president for the first time after ex-president Pedro Castillo was impeached hours after he tried to dissolve parliament. Dina Boluart, previously the vice president, was sworn in after a dramatic day in Lima yesterday. Earlier in the day, Mr. Castillo has said he was replacing Congress with an exceptional emergency government, but lawmakers ignored this and in an emergency meeting impeached him. He was then detained and accused of rebellion. Ms. Boluart, a 60-year-old lawyer, said she would govern until July 2026, which is when Mr. Castillo's presidency would have ended. After the deadly bombings on 2 Bali nightclubs in 2002, some survivors say they got a life sentence. "My life changed forever," Australian man Andrew Shobi told the BBC on Wednesday. The man who crafted the bombs that killed Mr. Shobi's friend and left him a double amputee was freed from the Indonesian prison. Indonesia says Umar Patek has been deradicalized, but his parole has sparked anger, particularly in Australia, where 88 victims were from some 202 people from 21 nations were killed in the blast on 12th October that year. It remains Indonesia's deadliest terror attack. Back to the headlines of the world news. Arkansas elects youngest black mayor in the U.S. Peru's President Pedro Castillo replaced by Dina Boluart after impeachment. And anger and fear in Australia as Bali bomber freed. That ends world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
On to development news. Distribution of coconut saplings to low-income families and Samudri recipients to cultivate in their home gardens in the Kagala district is being implemented successfully. This program is being initiated by the Samudri Development and the Coconut Development Board. And that came to you in development news. Now moving on to sports news. The Kagala Volleyball Carnival will be held from the 14th of this month to the 18th of this month at the Kagala Police Grounds and the Rock Hill Playgrounds. This has been organized by the Sabargama Provincial Sports Development Department, Kagala District Secretariat Office and the Kagala Police. And that came to you in sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest. An interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka celebrated excellence in corporate reporting at the TAGS Award 2022 on Tuesday by honouring leading corporates, multinational, small entities and non-profit organizations for producing insightful and transparent annual reports amidst increasing expectations from multiple stakeholders, including investors. Top conglomerate Haley's PLC triumphed with the coveted Gold Award for the overall excellence in corporate reporting at the TAGS Awards, while John Keel's Holdings PLC and SoftLogic Life Insurance PLC shared the Silver Award in the same category, and LB Finance PLC walked away with the Bronze Award. And that was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest. An interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
On to economic news. The Wildlife Department has received a record income due to the large number of tourists who arrived in Sri Lanka on the 30th of November and the 5th of December on the 2 luxury cruise ships. Luxury cruise liner Asmara Quest, carrying 600 guests and 400 crew members, arrived in the Colombo port on the 3rd of this month and in the Hambantota port on the 5th of this month, and the super luxury cruise Mainship 5 arrived at the port of Colombo on the 29th of November with 2,030 passengers and 945 crew on board and called the port of Hambantota on the 30th of November 2022. And that was the economic news segment, and now we move on to the weather report. The Met Department says that the cyclonic storm Mandos over southwest Bay of Bengal, located near latitude 9.5 N and longitude 83.8 at 8:30 a.m. today. It is very likely to move west-northwestwards and cross North Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and South Andhra Pradesh coast over southwest Bay of Bengal around midnight on the 9th of December. Cloudy skies will prevail over most parts of the island. Intermittent showers are expected in the northern province with heavy rainfall in 100 millimeters at some places. Showers will occur at times in the Sabargama province and in the Galle Matra and Trincomalee districts. Showers will occur at times in the Sabargama province and in Galle Matra and Trincomalee district. Several spares of showers may occur in the western and northwestern provinces and in the Nuwara and Kandy district. Strong winds about 60 to 70 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the northern, north central, eastern and Uva and also in the central province. That was the weather report, and to conclude this news broadcast, the headlines once again. The committee stage debate relevant to the appropriation bill is being held in Parliament. The voting on the third reading of the budget proposals will take place at 6 p.m. this evening. It has been stated in Parliament that the government is entering into the correct economic path. The opposition leader has requested the government to suspend the proposal that has been taken in 2 instances to increase the electricity bill. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara stated that the hydro and wind power plants will not be privatized. Foreign news, Arkansas elects youngest black mayor in the U.S. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.